Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Raised by a Monster. This is Jessica Hernandez, and this is episode number 4. Today, I am just wanting to talk to you all about mental disorders that are related to being raised by a narcissist. You're very welcome here today, and I'm so glad you're here to listen and learn with me. I have a lot to say about this, being raised by a narcissist. My mother, who was extremely abusive, she was emotionally, physically, verbally abusive to me and my brother and sister. So I was the baby of the family. My mother did try to abort me when she was pregnant. She took some medications and then got very sick and was very scared, and it did not work. So obviously I'm here, but I do know that there's a lot of things that can happen to babies in the womb. I know they feel what their mothers feel. I remember when I was pregnant, I was trying really hard not to stress about anything because I didn't want my baby to feel that. I remember I stopped any meds I was taking because even if the doctor said it didn't affect him, I was just so worried. And I do feel like I had those I'm not good enough feelings from the womb because I knew I wasn't wanted from her. I do believe and I have faith that there's a reason why I'm here, and there's a reason why the medications didn't work. I do want to share that I know my mom did have an actual abortion before me, and she just didn't want any more kids with just the 2 that she had. But I ended up being what's called the golden child in the family, and basically that just means that I was the one that, if anyone was favored at all, it was me, mainly because I strived for it and I worked really hard for it, just to have any type of happiness from her, any vibe that she was glad that I was around. So I won't get into details about any mental health issues that my siblings may or may not have, but for me personally, being raised this way, I do have a huge people-pleasing in me, which honestly, for me, it's just who I am. I just like people around me to be happy and pleased and in a good mood, and I do whatever I can to be a peaceful, happy person. But what I've learned in therapy is that I need to do this not to my detriment, meaning I'm not going to hurt myself so that other people can be happy. This is something that I'm working on and I've gotten a lot better with, is even when I listen to other people's problems, I go into fix-it mode and trying to make it okay and take care of everyone and stress myself out so badly that now, being in therapy, I've realized that I can help people without stressing myself out so much. And it's been huge for me to realize that I can help and do so much for other people without completely stretching myself too thin, and caring more for myself and my family, my immediate family here at home, meaning my husband and my kids. So that is a game changer. So the number one mental disorder that comes from being raised by a narcissist would be becoming a narcissist yourself. So NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, like I spoke about before, narcissist, it's on a spectrum. Some people are more narcissistic than others. Some of you might have, we all have some traits here and there, a little sprinkle of it. But to be diagnosed with NPD, you have to have all of the traits that I had spoken about. So that's what my mother was. And if you look up all of the traits that come with having the personality disorder, she did have it. And I look into it and realize that being raised by a narcissist, they create more. So no one is born a narcissist. You're created. And it's pretty sad. It's like you either end up what's called the exact opposite of a narcissist, which is an empath, which means you feel for other people so strongly. But that's also on a spectrum. You can be a very, very strong empath, which I feel I am, to the point where if someone around me is in a bad mood, I will start feeling the mood change, and I have to get away from that because I feel it and I'm like, what is wrong with me? What am I feeling? And it's like, oh, it's that person. Gotta get away from this. I absorb other people's energy, so I have to protect myself from that. So the strong people pleasing and the empath of really feeling for other people so strongly. If someone starts crying, I work in a doctor's office and my patients will cry to me and vent about their various health issues. And yeah, half the time I am crying with my patients. And see, sometimes it's a good thing. It works very well for me at work. I can help patients and I feel for them and they are more comfortable in my office. But again, it's something that I just don't want to feel to my detriment where I'm so completely drained because it takes so much of your energy. So, but the other side of it is, what if I would have became like my mother, very narcissistic, very selfish, very entitled, and she put herself before us all the time. Oh, always, really. And it's like I've worked so hard in my life to be the opposite of that. So there's a lot of things that can be looked at as a good thing, which is being like an overachiever. You want validation for your feelings all the time. You're very competitive. These things, it makes me feel like I do have some of those from my childhood and PTSD. I was diagnosed with the PTSD and anxiety. Oh, the anxiety has always been very strong for me. Anytime I do the testing in a doctor's office for anxiety and depression, I typically score pretty low on the depression scale, but extremely high in anxiety. So, and recently was diagnosed with OCD, which is something that I always looked at as, just some people that just like things clean or a certain way. And it's so much more than that. The ruminations and the compulsions to do things and touch things so that you feel like everything's going to be okay. There's a lot of things I did in my childhood that I still do now and just don't even realize it. It's just these compulsions that I feel like I have to do in order to feel safe and to feel okay and that everything's going to be okay. And ruminating for hours and hours, losing sleep. But I will say that the OCD, the anxiety, the PTSD, I think I have gotten so much help through talk therapy. And like I told you guys before, I got very lucky with my therapist that I found. She's amazing. But not everyone finds their person the first time. So like I told you before, I think it's so important that if you decide to try therapy and it doesn't work with the first person and you don't like it, it's not a good vibe, keep trying, keep looking, don't give up. Trust me, because your person's out there. Look for him or her. For me, it was important to find someone that had some ounce of faith as well, because these talk therapy, along with going to church, speaking with my pastor, speaking with women that believe and have faith in God, has also been a game changer. And meds, I have no shame in saying that I take medication to help with all of these issues. I didn't for a while, and I realized this is what's going to help me not only get through life, but I'm more present with my children. I've noticed I'm more present with my husband. I'm not always thinking, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to go constantly, which I'm not going to lie to you, even with meds, with therapy and my faith and working out, all of these things that I do to be better and to feel better, my anxiety, OCD, none of it's gone away. It's still there. It's just easier to deal with my medication and with my workings that I'm doing. Journaling, I've been journaling as well. At the end of the day, just writing down how I feel and my gratitude of just feeling and writing down how grateful I am, praying and talking to God, how grateful I am for this life, for my family. Oh Lord, I am so grateful, and truly thinking of where I came from and what I've been through. It's incredible to know where I came from and where I am now. It's complete opposite. And it's because I worked so hard to get here. It's been a long journey. And I have a lot of good people in my life as well. I think we spoke about that before too. Just keeping good people around you. The company you keep is what's really going to help you to have a better life. And I hope I'm reaching lots of people that have similar childhoods that I had. But even if you didn't have a parent that was similar to my mom, if you might even be listening to this and think, well, there's someone else in my life that sounds like this. You know, do your due diligence, do your research, and reach out to me if you need any help, if you want to talk about it, because I love talking to people who think that they may be involved with a narcissist in any way, any type of relationship, really. The exact reason why I wanted to start this podcast was to specifically reach out and speak with people that were raised by narcissists. But I found that a few people that reached out to me didn't have that exact scenario, but still found this information helpful and interesting. So yeah, everybody, please continue to reach out for me, find me. I actually have Instagram and TikTok now. It's so interesting and helpful to be able to talk to people that have gone through similar situations. And it's just crazy because my whole life, my whole childhood, I didn't realize that anything was really truly abnormal. It wasn't until I got older that I was like, wait a minute, this is not what other people are dealing with. This is abnormal. And not even until my late 20s, early 30s, where I really felt like it all came together. This is what you dealt with. This is what you went through. This is how you're going to heal and be better. And which it makes sense because my late 20s is when children came into our lives. So I really felt like this is something that I want to heal from and do better and feel better, because I refuse to put my children through anything similar to what I went through. So those chain breaking deals. This is what I told myself. I'm going to break these chains and we're going to do things differently. So these are, like I said, these are the mental issues that I deal with and am continuing to live with. And I have, sadly, there's tons of mental disorders that can come with being raised by someone who is narcissistic or an actual narcissist. There is what I had, the PTSD that comes from chronic long-term exposure to abuse, leading to emotional flashbacks, intense shame, and fear. Those flashbacks can feel so real and put you right back into that moment. And the fear, the hypervigilance of even something so small, it's like loud noise or someone coming to say hi to me and I jump. It's just that hypervigilance. Sometimes it is overwhelming, not only for me, but for people around me. But again, with the work that I'm doing, it's gotten a lot better. Depression and anxiety disorders, that comes from a lifetime of criticism, invalidation, and living in a constant state of fear that causes anxiety and depression. So I do a lot of work with validating my kids' feelings because I truly was never validated. And it's so important to me that they know that their feelings are genuine and they are important. So, even with like, hey, it's okay to be mad. I understand that you're mad, but we're not going to scream and yell. It's okay to be mad. It's not okay to scream and yell. And just validating that I hear you and there's reason to feel how you're feeling. Feel those feelings. Take a minute. Let's breathe. Because no one really did that for me at all growing up. Personality disorders are very common with being raised by a narcissist. And survivors may develop conditions like BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. And people with BPD do have narcissistic traits higher than others, but they're not actual narcissists. I actually did a deep dive into BPD, learning about it, and I actually really feel for these people because they're good-hearted people. It's just they have strong sense of fear of abandonment. So, which I feel like to a degree we all have fear of abandonment, but these people, it's extreme fear of abandonment, and they will leave you and discard you if they feel that you're going to leave them. It's just very sad, actually. Codependency and people-pleasing. Hey, that is me. A compulsive need to fix others or meet others' needs, stemming from a childhood where they had to manage their parents' emotions. Definitely, at a very young age, manage my mom's emotions, help her, please her, and constantly be aware of her feelings and emotions, how she was going to act, anticipating her needs. So anything that she liked certain ways, that's the way I would work hard and make sure everything was the way she liked it. And that's how you really develop that codependency and people pleasing. This is something this is interesting. Substance use disorders. So these come with these are a coping mechanism for dealing with long-term emotional trauma and neglect. This is also something so sad. I don't personally deal with this. In fact, I have what is the opposite effect because I grew up with a narcissistic mother and there was some alcoholism growing up as well. I don't want anything to do with any substances. No alcohol, I've never smoked anything, no So no smoking, no alcohol, no any kind of drugs. Even when I gave birth, they offered me strong meds, and I was like, nope, I'm good with ibuprofen. I've seen a lot when it comes to substance abuse and alcoholism, and I'm so scared of it, and it brings me so much anxiety thinking about it that I just don't bother. And I see people, get drunk and they feel like crap the next day. They embarrass themselves. They do crazy things, and I don't get the appeal. I really don't. But I know that it is something that can lead to strong coping mechanisms of using these things that you need almost to feel normal or better. And I'm good personally. But this is also something that's very sad to see. Perfectionism and imposter syndrome, the belief that one must achieve high standards to earn love or validation. The perfectionism is definitely something that I've dealt with as well. I'd love to talk to someone that deals with this and learn how you personally deal with the perfectionism. Personally, now that I realize that I have it in my head trying to do things perfectly, and it's also ties into the people pleasing thing, I have learned to give myself more grace, because then I have that voice in the back of my head, if I'm not perfect and I do make a mistake, that I'm not good enough. And now I'm so much more grace for myself, and give myself that time to say, it's okay. You're human. And you're still loved. You're still enough. And if you don't have someone personally to tell you that, I'm telling you, you are still enough. You are still loved. You are good enough, more than good enough. I also wanted to talk about the fact that a few people had reached out to me and asked if my mother was still alive. And I always find that question so interesting, because yes, my mother is still alive, but it's like, I feel like I lost her a very long time ago. So I feel like I've always grieved a mother that I never got while she's still alive, which is such an odd thing to experience. And it's also interesting talking to other women that feel the exact same way that I feel. It is hard to explain. So when I talk to other women that are like, yeah, that's how I feel, it makes me feel like I'm not alone. She is still alive, and I'm the only person that cares for her at this time. So she doesn't speak with anyone. She's shut everyone out of her life. It is very hard taking care of the person that just abused you your entire life. And I will say that I do have strong boundaries now that she hates, but this is what I have to do to keep myself okay and protect my family and my mental state, is to have boundaries. And this is so powerful to be an adult and to be able to place those boundaries to keep yourself sane. I would give that advice to anyone dealing with a narcissist or someone narcissistic. Keep your boundaries, and they will try really hard to break those boundaries. Be ready for it and don't give in. It's what you need to stay happy and mentally okay. And if you have children, you keep them safe as well. So I take care of her. It's more of just like an obligation that I feel, because she does not have anyone else. But I will say that it is incredibly tough. It's not easy. And I'm glad that I do have a very, very supportive and loving husband, because I will say that, yeah, I don't have any help in this, but he is a lot of help. He does help me with my mom. Even before we got married, we were separated for a little over a year, and he was there for me when my mom tried to commit suicide. he found out and we weren't even together. And he was at the hospital and he stayed there even when I had to work because she was intubated for a while. And he would check on her and keep in touch with me and let me know. He's always been supportive, and I'm very glad I have that as well. So if you do have a support system, that is incredible. And if you don't, reach out to me and I will be that for you, because there's a few different women that I've talked to that are realizing what they went through, and I just love being that ear to listen and hear you out and be there for you, give any advice that I can. And even if you do have a support system, you know, you can reach out to me. But it's a game changer. It really is, having someone that gets it and that loves you and understands. So I'm going to end this episode with saying that I am grateful that you are here again and listening, and continue to listen, please, and share this with anyone you think could use this advice. And I also want to say that next episode, I want to really dive into what to look for if you think that you have a narcissist in your life. Because I have found that is the most responses that I've been getting is, I think I'm dealing with a narcissist. And so we'll see you. That will be episode number 5. Looking forward to it. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.